Hello, everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of Tech Talk with Judy and Tricia. It's 6 o'clock where I am right now, and we've got with us Chidiogo, our guest speaker. I'm so excited to have Chidiogo here as our guest speaker, and you will get to know why why in a couple of minutes. So before we go on, I would just like to welcome everyone. If you're joining us from Instagram, if you're joining us from LinkedIn, if you're joining from YouTube, welcome everyone to yet another episode of Tech Talk with Judy and Tricia. Tricia actually sent her apologies. She doesn't feel too well, and I just felt it would be good for her to rest while we just take up the show and anchor it ourselves. So, yeah. Hi, everyone. I can see our super audience, Roman, saying hello. If you can hear me, just say hello. Put it in the chat. Say hello. If you're joining from LinkedIn, from YouTube, from Instagram, can we get your hellos? And while we're waiting for that, I would just want to introduce guest speaker. Okay, Roman says he can hear us. So, yeah, perfect. We know that we're being seen and we're being heard. So, change your.
Hello, good evening.
Hi, good evening. How are you doing today?
I'm fine, thank you. Sorry, I
Yeah.
don't know whether it's from my end or from your end. Network is a bit not really quite stable.
I am not so
Um,
sure, but
Getting
yeah, it
like
could
this.
be from my end because currently I am joining you from Lagos, Nigeria. So if you can hear me, and the network is not so stable where I am right now, if you can hear me, please can you just drop a comment where you're joining us from? Usually I'll be joining you from London, United Kingdom, but today I'm joining you from Lagos, Nigeria. So can I know where you're joining us from? If you can hear me, can I know where you're joining us from? If you're joining us from Lithuania, if you're joining us from UK, if you're joining us from Lagos, Abuja, can I see that in the comment section? Okay. I don't think we have got anyone typing in the comment section. Oh, yes. So, as usual, Roman is joining us from Lithuania, Vilnius. Okay, so we'll just carry on. Chidiogo, hope you can hear me loud and clear. Hello? Chidi, if you can hear me, can you just tell us where you're joining us from? If you can hear me, Chi, can you just tell us where you're joining us from?
Okay. I don't know. God. So I'm joining from Lagos, Nigeria this evening. Yeah. So it's been a today it's a public holiday, Good Friday. So we've
Yes, it
been
is.
trying to get into the holiday mood, right? Thank you for the holiday mood,
Yeah.
right?
And I want to especially thank you for making our time to join us today, being a public holiday. We really appreciate it over here. So, without wasting much time, can we just get to know you? Can we get to know who our special guest is today?
Okay, so my name is Chijoga Agwacha. Um, I'm a human resource professional with about with over a decade of experience spanning across various industries in working with both in multinational and indigenous companies here in Nigeria. Um, I own quite a number of certifications, won a couple of awards, including the Emerging HR Leader Award, which I won last year in the HR industry. Um, so I also I'm the founder of the Thriving Employee Hub and the Thriving Employee Bootcamp, with a community that is dedicated to helping career professionals thrive in their career. So, coming from my background and being a HR expert and a recruiter, I've seen firsthand, what can make someone, either skill an interview, or what can make someone, pass their performance appraiser, or at certain rooms where decisions are being made about someone's promotion, right? And I know the things that we look out for, that they will your line managers are looking out for. Some dedicated to helping people realize those things, see them, and then help them build those expertise, those skills, position themselves visibly in their industry, in their workplace, so they can get those promotions that they deserve.
Yeah, thank you for that very great introduction. We've already got questions for you, so you know that this particular episode is going to be packed full of questions. But before we even look
Okay.
at the questions from our audience, I just want to ask the question, what do HR really look for in tech candidates? So, yeah, I know you're an all round HR personnel, but when you're talking about tech candidates, what do they actually look for? What do they really look for? And what will make us stand out when we put our CVs out there?
Okay. So whether you're a tech candidate or you are a finance candidate, whatever role, one number one rule, right? One rule that I think, whatever you are imputing into your CV, make sure you can defend it. People will say, oh, should they lie on their CV when they try to, touch up their CV and all that. I said, I won't tell you yes, I won't tell you, but whatever you are imputing on your CV, make sure that you can defend it, because you never know where the questions are coming out from. So things to look out for, right? Technical proficiency, right? Because when it comes to tech candidates, especially whatever you write that if you put Python, Java, this, that, we are going to definitely want to find out, that you can actually do that. So, are you sure? Are you certain that what you put there, if you are a beginner, indicates in brackets beginner, so I would know what we are dealing with from the onset. Some will come, they will post, oh, I'm an expert, but by the time you start asking them, I'll start in a couple of interviews, right, for IT roles, and you would see what they quote, on their CV, different tech skills, and then by the time you're asking them, even down to network engineering, they can't answer you, like, and they're like, but you said you've done this, that this. So one thing, technical proficiency, ensure that whatever you impute, you are very knowledgeable about it. If you're not, indicate beforehand on your CV, so that so they're able to guide their questions, to you. And that thing we look out for is, project portfolios. A lot of people tend to leave out their portfolio, especially for tech. So when it comes to tech people and creatives, it's very important for you to impute your portfolio, right? A link to your portfolio on your CV, because that's the way we can actually check out that you know what you're doing, right? Or that you've done what you say you've done. And some might say, oh, I'm just a newbie, I haven't really done any project. What can I have as my portfolio? Build your own portfolio. There are, open source projects. There are projects that you can actually work on, like, just create something and work on it and see and show. Because I had, so there was an interview I had to sit on for a business analyst, right? And the candidate that we went with at the end of the day, looking at his CV and just looking back, right? The projects that he puts, that he has done, they're not life like real projects. They're projects
Mm,
that he, he like a problem he envisaged in a business, created it as a project, and then
wow.
built solutions around it and put it on his CV. So he has shown that I can do this, though I have not actually had a real life, work as a real life practical experience, but I have created that I've been able to do this personal, let's call it, this personal projects, right? Though it's not real life, but it's like a scenario based kind of activity. So he was able to show that he has that 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 he has done. So I always tell people, you know, I always tell people creatives, don't wait, because if you might not have access to a lot of projects, a lot of jobs to do, but create your own so that they see that you are able to do it and have that portfolio link. It's very, very important, because what's your CV without your portfolio? If you are a tech person, how do we know that you've done what you say you've done, or you know what you say you've done? That's the only way that we can know. So always have, those portfolio of of
Projects
your
you've worked
jobs, of everything that you've done. And that thing is that you don't come to an interview unprepared without researching about the role, about the company. Some people can, because the needs of roles in different industries are different, right? A business analyst, right, is a business analyst, right? But in playing in different industries is different. If you're going into manufacturing, for example, it's different. If you're going into the supply chain space, it's different. Like it's different experience. So you need to be able to understand and research about the industry where you're going for, to be interviewed, or so that you can understand how your skills can fit into their issues, how you can solve their issues, right, using your skills. If you don't understand the industry you're trying to go get into, you won't be able to understand the connectivity between what you do as a back-end developer or as a software engineer. You won't be able to understand, that in relation to what the business do. And that thing is, so I advise you try to get certifications. A lot of people think that,
on.
oh, it's paper, but it's not paper. It's like it's like when you're trying to have a seal, on something that's this is original. It's like a seal on your experience. Like it's stand. Oh,
Yeah.
it's now stamped. You have it. It is stamped. Nobody can deny that you don't know. But if you don't know it, how would you be able to get the
Mm.
certification? So it's important for tech people to also strive to get those certifications that are relevant to their
Yeah.
skills or whatever industry that they want to play. Don't just leave it as I just know it. Try and get those certifications to back up your knowledge that you
Mm.
know. Try, and then also try to get wide range of experience. So that's why I said, okay, you can partner, collaborate with with your friends, your colleagues, all your other people in projects, or develop your own. Like I was so amazed when I found out that candidate for that is didn't that was not a real, because I thought it was a real life project, but
Wow.
I said this
Wow.
not that he created. He like he imagines the problem and then created the solution, based on the issues that were identified, and that was what really like made him come up, compared to other candidates, and he eventually got the job. Yeah. So
Yeah, but I'm,
that
I'm curious. Yes, I'm curious, and I'm sorry to bump into this conversation. Like, okay, so this candidate in particular did not have a real life experience. He was using transferable experience to apply for this job. Why did the candidate stand out from other candidates who probably have real life experience? What would have made him stand out? Is it because he just came as honest as he was to say, I really don't have this experience, but I've been able to, I don't have professional experiences, but I've been able to
mm.
use my personal experience and, put it together in my CV. Why did it stand out from candidates who probably had real professional experiences?
Okay, so this particular candidate, right? So he has not okay. He has experience working as a business analyst, but in a different industry altogether.
Okay.
Coming to the industry where he was being interviewed for, he didn't have. It's a different ballgame altogether as a business analyst. But him having done that project, and he also came prepared. He researched the business. So when they were even asking questions, about about the business issues that that his role was meant to
Yeah.
solve, was able to answer even more than those that had industry experience,
Okay.
because he researched the company, researched the industry, was able to find out, what are the, so like you come ready for an interview, like you're going for a board presentation. You have to be ready, because and you need to show that you want. So he has gone far. He went far. He answered the questions like as if he's working in the role already. Like you'll be surprised, because like he was not working in in the industry, but the way he was answering the question, you know that, okay, this person actually did his homework. And
Yeah.
really, employers look out for people that have passion, that are willing to go the extra mile. You
Mm,
they those attributes are valued way more than technical skill, because you can always learn technical skill. But
on the
if you are not
job.
a person that's willing to go the extra mile, it will be hard for you to to really do well, and go and be extraordinary. You will be ordinary, but you can't be extraordinary if you're not able to really to go the extra mile on your job.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense. So just looking, everybody is good to make their CV look good and write good experiences and all of that, but that singular fact that the person is able to go an extra mile will make that candidate stand out. So doing the research on the company, doing the research on the industry, even if you have not had that industry experience, just makes you stand out. That makes a lot of sense.
Mhm.
Thank you for that, Chidigo.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And Roman is saying here that would like to ask you a question. I think it's really what I was asking, but yeah, he's asking it in a different way. He said, "What do HRs want from?" I'm going to pin it. What do HRs want from the candidates nowadays? Because, for example, often software testers HR look for lead coders, but not actual testers. I do apologize if I'm wrong. So, do you want me to give some context to this question?
Yeah, please, you
Or
can.
you think you can? All right. So I think what he's trying to say is that um, they are looking for people who are really into programming languages and all of that. Correct me if I'm wrong, Roman, but software testers really, you don't need to be a coder to be a software tester. So what I think he's trying to say is that these days they are looking for even more than software testers. They're looking for people who can code, who are programmers and all of that, to do the software testing role. So what do they really want? Because the job description does not necessarily mean that you should be able to code, but these days they are looking for that extra thing. So what do they really want if we've got a job description, but they are asking for much more than that?
Than
I
that.
think, yeah.
Okay, so I would say it's a combination of many things, right? So fine, the job description clearly defines what, that is a software tester that they need, right? But sometimes maybe due to business needs, or they're trying to manage budget or manage costs, or trying to see how they can, like okay, it would be nice to have someone that can also do this and decide they can also, manage costs and get. So sometimes those things play out, costing, budgeting, trying to create a balance in the team, and sometimes maybe they don't really actually know what they want, depending on probably the recruiter is not really clear, on what they want to do. That if I'm doing a recruitment, the higher manager, that's the person that the role is, the owner of the role, that's the person that role would report to, must clearly, explicitly state what exactly you want, what exactly you're looking out for, so that there will not be so much ambiguity in sourcing for candidates, and the whole interview process. You have, yeah, so sometimes also it can also be the recruiter's fault, not being clear on what they actually need. They can be juggling, like mixing up some things, and not be clear. While some maybe budget constraint, cost constraint, they're trying to maybe get someone that can do multiple things, and not just a tester, or probably the business need at that point in time maybe the business needs a tester, but probably not just only a tester, right? So they're trying to see, maybe at this point, let's get someone that's, it is is a software tester, but also knows how to code. Then maybe over time, as the business expands, we'll now get more team members that can do that. While the person now focuses on software test. So it's a couple of different things, but they need to be some sort of clarity, right? And as candidates, if you can, right? If you can, sometimes it's not easy, right? Especially in tech, some people just tend to focus on one area and and just be
Yeah.
be, be focused on that. But if you can, right, also try and get other skills, because really every business they are just trying to look for ways to manage their recruitment costs, their staff costs, and they
Mm.
can bring in those things in between, just to try to maybe kill two birds with one stone.
Yeah, but I think the job market is really competitive right now, and yeah, there's only so much skills you can gather. But if you just have a little edge over the other candidates, that'll be very helpful. So yes, I quite agree with you. But I want to ask a question, and it really bothers me as a person because in my academy, when we're done with training, we try to guide them through how to prepare CVs and all of that. And I
Mm.
would always say to them, okay, the CV should be one pager, sorry, two pager. If you can make it a one pager, perfect. Does that really matter? Because sometimes you've got loads of experience and everything cannot fit into just 2 pages. So does it really matter if your CV is 4 pages long, and you have loads of experience, you have lots of value that you have, you have experience, years of experience, or should we always just try to fit it into a one-page CV? What are your thoughts on that?
Okay, so when it comes to pages of CVs, right? I really peg it in related to the number of years of experience.
Mm,
I always tell candidates, right? We are not looking to read the history of your job description on your CV. Because that some people, they just take the job description of that role and put it on their CV. That's not what you're looking out for. Highlight your key achievements. So your CV should actually be achievement based, right? And not just what your day-to-day activity. It should be your achievement base, led this, established this, implemented this, that. Though it should be more achievement based, right? And then if there's a way you can, so that's a having. So if we have your portfolio, right, you can just put that. 'Cause at least is a link, right? So you're able to. I don't like people having a lot of pages, especially if you're not like, well, like over 10 years of experience. You're not okay. You've worked across different companies. But if you're less than 10 years, right, 5, 6, 7, 8 years, you can make it very, very, very concise, because there's no time to look at a lot of pages. You want to just scroll through and see what you've done, click your portfolio, see what you've done, and see what you can do, and then know if to shortlist you or not. But the more pages you have, the more you make that recruiter want to waste time, and the more time recruiter is trying to spend, because there are a lot of candidates that were trying to sort through their CV. So I advise 2 pages is fine, really, really great. Just focus on putting your achievements. Don't just make it, because some people have a lot of. I've reviewed quite a number of CVs, and you will see a lot of repetitions, unnecessary things, daily operational tasks being put on daily, nothing strategic, no achievement on it, and
mm.
I say that's a CV. So you just make it achievement based, have your portfolio link in there, and really you'll be fine.
Yeah. Thank you for that. I think you've just hit the nail on the head. But I was just gonna say, so if I have got, let's call it, over 10 years work experience, and because I cannot fit in over 10-year work experience in my CV, is it advisable for me to just put in like the last 5 years experience, but I have it in my, maybe my professional summary saying I've got over 10 years work experience, but when it comes to the work experience section, I just put in maybe the last two work experience I've had and put in all the achievements. What would you say about that? Do you think the recruiter or the HR person looking at it will say, okay, what happened on all the other years that you claim to have experience? Why is it not in the
Mm,
CV? But you are just
mm.
trying to make the CV look as just trying to summarize it as much as possible. What are your thoughts on that, really?
Okay, so one way I would advise that someone like that would do it is that, so you have 10 years. So let's say probably you've worked in 6 places, for example, and you have like a lot of experience. Put your most recent, maybe 3 or 4, right? Depending on number of, so you can target to have like 3 pages if you have 10 years experience, and then you can put the other one, just put the company name, the role, and the years,
Mm,
the duration. So it is there, and then probably can just put one line, one major thing that you did there, one line, so that it shows. But it may not have that much space compared to the most recent ones, because you want to show what you've done of recent and highlight. So it's important that you highlight, those ones that are relative, that are closely related to the role that you're aiming for. You know, that's why I say have varieties of your CV. Don't just have more than don't just have one. Like me, I have like maybe like, I have like 3 variants of my CV, depending on what part of HR I want to I see a role that I want to put I would like to apply. So have different variants of your CV if you can, and highlight those achievements that will project you, because
yeah.
it's a competition. You are like in
Yes.
a beauty pageant, right? There are so many things you are looking out for. You are not there with the recruiter. You don't know what the recruiter is looking out for
Mm,
exactly, right? You don't have the full brief of that recruitment. So you don't know exactly. They put what they can on the JD, right? But you don't know there's some back end information that you not really know. So you need to be able to highlight those things that can position you and stand you out as someone that they should be interested to talk with. So highlight those things that are relating to the role or to the industry, and just make 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 the other short. When they invite for the interview, can I hear you? Can I you have time to now say all the story of your life at that point?
yes, but that brings us to the ATS. So I think the last time we had this tech talk, um, the person tech talk on HR issues. The guest speaker did say that okay, these days ATS, so you have to be make your CV ATS compliant and all of that. And I think that would mean us trying to pull the job description from the advertisement and trying to fit it into your CV. I know you did mention that, okay, just show your achievement. You don't really need to pull from directly from the job description into your CV, but you want to stand out. The job description has said we're looking for somebody who can use Python or who can script in Java, but and okay, you could have done that, but you don't really have that in your CV, but you have other achievements. So is it advisable for us to, try to streamline our CVs um, using the job description so that it can meet ATS compliance?
So having just the job description on your CV doesn't mean that your CV is 8 years compliance.
Mm,
So it's the keywords that are the what that's what the ATS picks out, not the job description, the keywords. So if it's a role that requires, and and you see it on the JD, and you see probably the role mentioned Python, Java, you can put it on your, so there's a part of your CV of your CV that should have a list of your skills, right? So you can
mm,
input it there. Let your CV carry those keywords. It can be anywhere. It can be in your skills part. It can be in your professional summary. You can let
mm,
it be somewhere that you can pick it out, right? So when you look at your the JD, there are some very very important things. When you see it, you would know, things that are mandatory or skills that they've mentioned, and that you know that it's important for anyone that would sit in that role. So ensure that, as mentioned, you don't carry the JD. Just imagine the recruiter seeing your CV with their JD inside your CV. It still doesn't make it still doesn't make sense. So it's just for you, it's just for you to tweaking, find a way to infuse those keywords right into your CV. That's what you do. That's what it means by being ATS friendly. Infuse those things in, and then there's some CV formats that are not ATS friendly. CVs that have
Mm.
lines, straight lines in between, they're not ATS friendly, right? And it's important. I always try to, the CV that you upload your ATS, always follow. If they say most times it's PDF format that really work, because sometimes you can put it in Word, it can scatter, or in another format it can, like, it won't align properly, right? So it's best to always save your CV in PDF format, except they mention otherwise, right? So that ATS can, because it's very ATS friendly, and ensure the use of keywords relating to that role. Ensure it's done. You see, it can be anywhere, in your summary, in your professional summary, or your skills list, or somewhere in between your your experiences. Right? If you don't please don't copy their JD and put on your CV. It's look very awkward.
I can imagine. I can imagine. But yeah, oh, I think when we had this discussion, we also did mention that these days, okay, like those days, if we're applying for jobs, you can just go on the job board, and there are like 100 adverts for a software testing role, and you like try to just apply for all of them and all of that. But these days, it's very difficult because of the ATS. And because of you have to almost streamline your CV. You cannot just use a general CV listing all my accomplishments, but may not necessarily have the keywords that would stand me out when the recruiter is looking at
Yeah.
it. So yeah, it is almost very difficult for you to, apply for as much jobs as possible or as you would want to, because these days the competition is
There are a lot of
very,
ATS too. Yeah.
yeah, the competition is very, very stiff. Yeah, so thank you very much for that. I think I personally am learning a lot. I had to send in bio CV 2 days ago, and I'm like, this ATS thing before it wasn't like this, but now they are stressing us. I tried to, I wouldn't lie to you, I tried to copy the JD into my CV, and I'm sure it didn't work. But yeah, yeah. So I think Roman has said he's got another question. Can an HR specialist spot fully or partially AI generated CVs? I think that is a very, very important question. Personally, I find this concept abhorrent as it defeats the purpose of a creative, and yes, I think so too. So please just share your thoughts on that, because these days a lot of people are using AI for everything. We don't even think with our head these days. Are you able to spot an AI generated CV?
If you yes, because sometimes we are able to, probably the way is worded, or probably by the time you so for example, in HR, for example, so you look at a person's number of years of experience, and you're seeing what the person is writing as what he has done. Sometimes it doesn't correlate, right? You're able to spot that. Or probably if the HR is very tech savvy, the person can throw that CV back into any AI and ask the person, and ask the AI, and AI would answer the question. Simple.
Oh,
So AI is here to help us, right? But people have become lazy and left everything to AI for them to do, right? AI can help you, can help you tidy up your rough ideas, can help you
mm,
tidy up your CV, may probably help you reward it, reframe it, but not to use what AI generated. And always look at what AI generated for. Sometimes AI can over exaggerate for you, right? But you need to tone it down to your
yeah.
reality. Yeah,
Mm,
AI can exaggerate for you, like it can.
mm,
So you need to tune in that to your reality, right? I'm not saying don't use AI. You can use it, right? But make it always always review what it has done, right, and feed it the right information for it to help you churn
Yeah.
out what you need for it.
Yeah, that's been a very interesting discussion on CVs. Before we go into interviews, I would just like to take a break and talk about Transition to Tech Academy. So, like we all know, this program is brought to us by Transition to Tech Academy, and Transition to Tech Academy is a one-stop hub for all things tech scaling, upscaling, or learning a new skill. So whether you're looking for to start as a business analyst, software tester, project manager, data analyst, cybersecurity, we are your one-stop hub. We are there to hold your hand all through from learning the skill up until you land your first job. So do well to send us a DM on LinkedIn. Um, our social media handles are just scrolling through the screen right now as I speak. So on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on YouTube, and you can just follow us, send us a DM, and you'll be glad you did. So welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. Chidiago, I just want to ask a question for interviews. So these days we have a lot of interviews that are done virtually. I think I'm not so sure. No, not like I'm not so sure. I know that there are interviews that are done in person, but these days a lot of tech interviews are
I
done
don't.
virtually. Now, for virtual interviews, what are the things you look out for? So you're doing a virtual interview. Do you look at the wall? If the wall is very busy, like my like my background right now, is it going to put you up as a HR person interviewing for a role? What are the basic things that we should actually do? So I'm just coming from an interview right now, and I'm like this. My background is very busy, or I can you can hear children screaming in the background. What are the basic things that we should actually just look out for us to be able to stand out, and um, be the best candidate for the job?
Okay. So so most people, right, because they feel it's not a physical interview, they don't take it as serious as a physical interview. They just see, oh, it's virtual, and they just show up anyhow. So I would say the same approach you would give to your physical interview, give the same approach to your virtual interview, because it's the same scoring, the same
Mm,
method they used to score you, right? First thing first, come early. Make sure you are logged in early. Just
mm-hmm,
be there. You can be waiting in the lobby, as you would wait in the reception room or physical office. You're waiting in the
okay.
lobby and they let you in. Ensure that your camera is on, right? Don't wait for them to tell you turn on your camera. Ensure it's on, you're ready. You're well dressed for the interview, right? Some people show up for interview because it's a tech road. You just wear just anyhow and come. If you're going for a physical interview, how would you dress? Apply the same thing to your virtual interview. And so I would personally, right, I would say if you want to use a background, if your wall is nice, use your wall. If you want to use a virtual background, use a there are many types of virtual background, that is professional, that is just like a wall or something. There are some that are like an office setting. Don't use something that's very, because things
Yeah.
that you don't know, like, it's human beings that are interviewing you, not machines. Humans have their bias, so don't do anything that can create a bias
Mm,
for you, right? Humans is that's the truth. Though they say, oh, you have to be professional as a recruiter, but we are all human beings. We all have our preferences. In as
mhm.
much as we try to be professional, we are still humans, and there will be some sort of bias in the levels can differ, but don't do anything that can make any bias, that will make them have any bias. So have a clean and clear background, right? If your wall is nice, just use your wall. If it's not, have a background. Ensure you are in a good environment, no noise, not a noisy environment. Please reduce your phone volume or turn off your phone volume. Let your phone not ring out in the course of an interview. The same way your phone should not ring out in a physical interview. The same way your phone should not ring out in a virtual interview. Ensure that um, um, that you are in a good you're in a good environment. Test your internet connection to see that it's fine and it's okay. So that's just it, and you'll be fine. So the same as how would you go because when people ask me that I ask them if a physical interview, how would you behave?
How would you
How
show
would
up?
you dress? What's
Yeah.
your approach to it? Apply the
Mm,
same approach to it. That's it.
yeah. Yeah. And also, we had this discussion. Okay, I'm going to give you a real life experience of one interview. I was a panelist in the interview, and after the interview, okay, after the interview, the interviewer or the interviewee sent all of us a thank you message. I thought that was really professional for her
Yeah.
to have sent all of us but it rubbed off the hiring manager in the wrong way. That why would you send a message to everybody, to the whole panel? You could have just sent it to the hiring manager alone. What are your thoughts on that? Because I actually thought it was a very professional thing for her to do, and that was not the reason she got the job. She did not get the job, but yes, it didn't go down well. What do you think about that?
Okay. So you see what I said about people having their own bias, right? So you like it, but the hiring manager didn't like
Yeah.
it. So I would say right, just to play safe, search just the hiring manager or the person that whosoever you get the um interview invite from, that person that you
Okay.
should say thank you.
Yeah.
So
Oh.
whatever email right whatever email, the HR email, whatever email sent you the. So you just respond to that email
Mm.
with a thank you. The message will always simmer because colleagues they gist so they this candidate she sent a thank you. So it will always simmer through. So just send just to play safe. Because some people
Yeah.
they are so into themselves, right? So just play safe and avoid any bias at all.
Exactly. So, Roman, our super audience has said here that I think it is quite important to set the appropriate background for the online on cam interview, as well as keeping with interview etiquette, dressing, as well as two side transparency of two parties. What I mean by transparency is that there can be cases where only the interviewee has the camera on, or vice versa. I'm just going to chip in here that I'd gone for an interview, and it was a two-panel interview. They came in and they said they were not going to have their camera on. I felt that was a bit rude, and I left my camera on. At that point I was like, okay, I should have actually turned off my camera, because why are we not having our cameras on? So I don't know why stuff like that would happen. But what do you think about turning on cameras, especially for the person who's going to be interviewing? I know they are the one that hold the carrot and the stick at that point in time. But yeah, to me, it was a bit rude. Why would I have my camera turned on and you don't have your camera turned on? What are your thoughts on that?
Um, so personally, I've had cases where where I turned on my camera. The cases where I turn off my camera. So it depends, right? There's no. I know it's be nice, right? So what I do, right? I'll turn it on, introduce that, so but I'll tell you that I'm turning it off. Like if I want it off, probably I might. So sometimes you can be in the middle of things, right? But you have to conduct an interview, and you don't want to seem like. I know sometimes when candidates is so, and sometimes most times it's a relief for the candidate not seeing the interviewer's face
Mm.
psychologically, right? So I've heard so many people say that they prefer for the interview. Even myself, I prefer for the interviewer not to, at least, especially if it's a role that you're not really like it's like sometimes it can ease off 10. And I've heard so many people say that wow, that they're long that they were happy that the interviewer's camera wasn't on to
Really?
yeah. I heard a lot of people say that at least they were not seeing the face of the interviewer.
So they're
So
not
yeah,
so
so it
anxious.
depends. Yeah, so they were not so anxious as they would have been if it was a physical interview or not. So sometimes I don't. So it depends, and you might not know. It might be they were Nigerian, right? So I'm Nigerian now. So there might be days that network is really bad, right? And once most people have their videos on, it also affects
You
the
would have been
connectivity.
anxious.
So, you know,
Okay.
so sometimes I even tell the interviewer, turn off the camera since I've seen your face already. I know that
Okay.
I need to turn off the camera so I ensure that there's ease of
So you wouldn't feel offended if I say, okay, please can I turn off my camera to help the network a bit? You wouldn't feel offended as a hiring manager.
now if I know that there's network issues and I know that you're having so you must communicate that okay I'm having
Yeah,
network challenges and I think the my video being turned off would help me better. Fine, good. As long as we've done that introduction and I know that okay, you're in a space, you're alone, and it's you that's answering my question. And sometimes why we are so pressed on for the interview which have the camera on. Sometimes it can be someone else answering all your questions. You don't know
yes.
as a
Sometimes you
viewer.
can even be reading from a book.
Do you understand?
You
That
can be
like
exposed.
okay, okay, there was an interview I sat on, right? The same network issue, right? And everybody's camera was turned off. Even the candidate was turned off. When the
Mm,
candidate was speaking, it felt that we know when you're reading, like people
mm.
the difference to when you're reading and when you're speaking directly from the heart, right? Like directly. The light that in this the way the candidate was answering was like as if the person was reading off from a book.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but the other way we would know because the camera was turned off because of
So,
issues, right? So, to avoid those things for a level playing field and transparency
mm,
and all that, we just want the candidates to turn on your camera.
hmm. Okay. And Mabel here says she finds it more relaxing
See?
to participate in an interview without the camera on.
There we go.
Okay. Yeah,
Because
sometimes you're
it
really
gives a lot of
nervous.
anxiety, yes.
Mm, But like you said, just what would you do in a physical interview? In a physical interview, we'll be seeing ourselves. So let's just take it that we're in an interview, physical or virtual, and just act like we're actually in a physical interview and cameras turned on. So I know that yeah, there could be exceptions, but as much as possible, let's have our cameras turned on. Yeah, that has been very, very interesting. And I would also like the audience, if you have got questions, please drop it for Chidiogo because next time you'll be seeing how you'll be paying money to you'll be paying money to consult with her. So please just drop all your questions here, right here and now. Roman has said, I think it's the issue of keeping things professional and to keep transparency. Exactly, because if the cameras are not turned on, somebody else can just come and take my seat. At least you don't even know me well enough to know my voice. So somebody else can be sitting the interview for me.
And sitting,
Yes,
yes.
yeah, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody else can be. I can be reading off the screen, and it's not transparent enough, and it's easier to cheat. Okay, you see, it's easier to cheat to read from a literal script without camera on. Yes, so for advisable,
Yes.
100% advisable to have your camera turned on during interviews. I personally feel that if I'm an interviewer, I wouldn't want you to have your camera turned off because I just feel a lot of things can be going on behind the screen. Yes, yes, yes. So please Questions, more questions, more questions. I'll just go through the comments right now. Unfortunately, today we are not having our giveaway because it was not announced earlier. But the giveaway will come back when I'm back in town. When I'm back in my base, the giveaway will come up. I'm just gonna go through all of the comments here. Roman says, Judy, you look great. Thank you, Roman. Da. And Pelumi is saying, well done, Judy and Chidiogo. Thank you very much for that. We want
Thank
some more questions. We've got just a few minutes to go. I know that there's a public holiday and everybody would be in the holiday spirit, relaxing with family and friends and all of that. So we wouldn't want to keep you any longer than necessary. Yeah. So if you've got any more questions, please throw it in. But before we even go into the questions, I know you mentioned something about a community when you're introducing yourself. Can you just please tell us how we can join this
yeah.
community and how and what do you offer in your community?
Okay, so the Thriving Employee Hub is a free community. So if you probably so it's just a WhatsApp community, right? So you can join, by there's a form to fill, right, and then you get the link to join the community. I can share that with Judy, and she can, drop it on her
Yes, I would
on
do
the
that.
platform. So what you get in the community, right? You get access to me, right? So you get access to job adverts. I drop a lot of job adverts, on the community. I share a lot of job adverts, interview teams. People ask me questions. So you have that like 24/7 access to me. We ask me a lot of questions, and I answer. Right? And then we also have webinar sessions on different topics. This year we had one on goal setting. Okay, we had one on personal branding in January. We had another one on goal setting. Had another one on financial planning. So we have because it's a community that is after your holistic wellness, right? Not just your career, because every other part of your life affects your career. Because spiritual, financial, relationship, life is not okay. It affects your career because everything is all connected, right? So, so we get tips, you get job adverts, you get access to me, so you can ask your questions whenever, and that's what most people lack, that because if people have the knowledge that they should have, they'll be able to avoid some mistakes, and move further. So it's like having a body, right? Someone like a friend to go with you in your career journey. Yeah.
Yeah, that's brilliant. And do you also in the community, I know that's asking for too much, but do you also offer like free CV reviews and maybe mock interviews and all of that? Do you do that?
So sometimes, right, some people can just, so that is sometimes they ask me questions. They, probably something happened in the probably at an interview station, and they ask, and they want to get clarity and answer questions. So sometimes I do, CV reviews, free CV reviews, interview sessions, like just to guide you on what to answer, what to say, so yeah.
Yeah.
We also
People
have
got to,
um, I also have the Traveling Employee Boot Camp. That one is like a paid upgraded version of the community, where I handhold you for 21 days on your LinkedIn personal branding, interviewing, just to ensure that you're a step ahead, and you're well positioned for opportunities.
yeah. I think we'll be reaching out to you. We'll take it off camera though, but yes, we'll be reaching out to you.
No
Yeah,
problem.
I've got a question from Mabel, and she's saying, how important do you think emotional intelligence and soft skills are in tech hiring these days? Do you feel they matter as much as technical skills do?
Hmm. Wow. I always say that technical skills can always be learned, right? And these days, now in the new, if you look at, if you go online, right, and you search for the the, the future skills for future years to come, you rarely see any technical skills. They're mostly soft skills
Mm,
that are the future skills needed, because employers have come to realize that, right, what causes the issues at work are not the technical skills, they're your soft skills,
yeah.
your attitude towards work, the way you talk to people, the way you relate to people, your interpersonal skills, not being not being driven, not having, not being unprofessional, not having the right attitude. Those are the things that actually cause issues at work. Not because I don't know, because you can always I can always send you for trainings to learn how to do but I
Yeah.
can't, for me, I cannot. Even if I send you for a training on emotional intelligence, if you don't want to learn it, you will not learn it,
Yeah.
no matter how much I spend on you. You understand? But if it's a technical skill, if I continuously put you on a on the job training, you would pick it, because there's no way you that one you would pick it. But if it's for those soft skills, is more internally motivated for you to be able to to change. So it's very, very important, very, very necessary. And as you climb the ladder, when you move from being a team member into a team leader, a team lead, into managerial leadership roles, those
Yeah.
soft skills are what matters the most than technical skills.
Okay,
When
so
you climb,
which is this? Yeah, this will bring my question. Which is the most important? Let's just call it three most important soft skills that you should have, or you should aim to, acquire when you're looking for a job. The three most important soft skills.
number one, emotional intelligence. It's very important, very necessary. Being able to read the room, being able to know what to say, how to say, when to say it, being able to understand, so the emotional intelligence is two parts: understanding people and understanding self. Understanding yourself and
Mm,
understanding your emotions, what triggers you, what makes you happy, what makes you sad, the environments that make you happy, make you sad, so you can still sad, you can be able to self-regulate your own emotions, and then being able to also
mm,
understand people, understand, how to relate to people. So there is two parts: managing self, managing the three parts: managing self, managing down, that's those that report to you and your colleagues, and then managing up, your managers.
mm,
That's that's a very, very important skill, knowing how to manage up, and that's what
yeah.
many people lack. And that skill is leadership. So both self leadership, leading self and leading others, right?
Mm,
Yeah, so being able to also master the art of leadership. And then the third skill is communication. So emotional intelligence, leadership, and communication. If you have those three,
mm.
you're fine. You're being able to
You're
effectively
good.
pass your message across both written and oral.
Yeah. I think a lot of the time, and I may be wrong, well, yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. A lot of the time when we're doing interviews, or the interviews that have participated in, like participating it as a panel,
Mm,
when we're doing the interview, we've seen your CV looks good, you've told us you can do all these things in your CV.
mm,
When we are doing the interview, we are looking at, are you a right fit for our team? Do you look like the kind of person that when you call back, we are chatting, our team chat, you bring meaningful contributions. So I think that communication skill is very important, and of course, emotional
yeah.
intelligence skill is very important, and of course, leadership skills. So soft skill, in answer to Mabel's question, is that technical skill matters, and like you've said, technical skill anybody can learn. You can learn on the job. There are lots of things that when I started off, I did not really know, but I got the job and I've learned along the way. But soft skill is what they're really looking out for. Are you a good fit for the company? So that brings us to the very end, 7 o'clock on the dot.
Wow.
Do you have any last advice for us? Do you have any last advice? like we are
Hmm.
just talk to us like we're newbies. We're just trying to get into the job market, specifically for a technical role. Just give us that advice.
Okay. Um. So what I would say, number one, right? Um. Build your network. Try and connect with
Mm,
people. Intentionally build network, and don't just be a taker. Be a giver. Invest
mm,
in the emotional bank of people, because the workplace
mm,
of now is highly referral based than, your most job. About 80% of jobs are filled from referrals. So you need to be
mm,
intentional about building your network, and be seen as someone who is interested in people, right? So some people are just very, let me use the word parasitic, right? But I don't want to use that word, parasitic, right?
okay.
Just want to take, and
Take,
not
take.
give.
Yeah.
When you're building your network, right, be intentional about it, support people, collaborate with them, offer assistance, advice, and it doesn't have to be monetary, you know. And again,
Mm,
there is social media there for you that's made it easy for you to meet people without having to physically meet up with them. Showing support on their posts, engaging with them, attending their events, and all that. Judy, you won't tell me that people that have consistently attended your events, you won't tell me that if their name pops up, if you're trying to fill a role,
yeah.
you would not
Oh
consider them
yeah.
first.
Oh yeah. Oh yes. Absolutely. You're right.
Do you understand? Because they have constantly supported you, and they've not
Mm,
spent any money, maybe their data,
yeah.
but they've not
Yeah.
spent any money, actually, in supporting you. But they've shown support to you by consistently turning up for your events, right?
Mm,
So intentionally intentionally invest in the emotional bank accounts of people, so that you can
mm,
draw from them when you need it, right?
mm,
Because it's a refer. I was telling someone that my last two roles, I did not apply for it. I just got
wow.
called up. You have your
Wow.
CV. Are you interested? You did interview, and I got the job.
Mm,
So if I'm not intentionally building my network, spreading my CV, having people
mm,
to that is so good. My CV is not just with me, it's with a number of people, and you don't
mm.
know who is you don't know where people are sitting what combos are going on where they are, right?
Yeah.
And not if you're not if you've not invested in them by giving your time, your effort, your support, your posts, your engagement, your comments, your likes, you know or even at least as be sharing or reposting their posts, right?
Mm.
you um how would they have you as top of mind? So
Yeah,
that's
you're right.
one thing I want people to go home with today, right? Build your network. Be
Yeah.
intentional about it. Don't go with the mindset that, oh, okay, if I'm liking this person's post, now maybe the next 2 months she can give me a job. Don't go with that mindset.
Um,
Because the Bible, okay, the Bible said, whatever you sow, you reap. It did not
yeah.
say wherever you sow, that's what you reap. So
Yeah.
you don't have to reap at that place, but you
Yeah.
certainly get what you want. So don't look at that. Don't approach supporting people with that mindset, because you might not get from that person. But the universe and God has a way to reward everyone for their work they've done. You will get your reward, right? As you get from wherever, and most of it comes from where you least expect. So that's just my
Mm.
sense.
Very, 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 very thoughtful, and yeah, very good advice. I got I got a lot from that advice myself. So yeah, I think about time to round up. Thank you very much for coming. Roman is saying Happy Easter, and he's got some emojis, Easter egg. Thank you. Mabel is saying everyone is taking notes. I have been taking mental notes. I think I will have to go and rewatch this and take physical notes. And Mabel is saying, thank you very much. And
Thank
she's
you.
also saying you're absolutely right, as in investing, be intentional about networking and investing in people. And whatever you sow, not wherever you sow, you will reap. That is my take home from today's episode. Thank you very much, Idigo. I appreciate your coming. Um,
Thank you for
I really
having
appreciate.
me.
Yeah. Hope you have a happy Easter. Enjoy the Easter weekend. Yeah, we're gonna say hello to Tricia. I'm sure she's in the background watching, so she will surely see your message. Thank you everyone for joining. Have a happy Easter. I will see you next Friday, same time, same place. Have a good day. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.